So let me share the slides. Hello, good morning. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, so that slide also a different slide. Actually, it was from a different book. Okay. Now, actually, so from today we are coming to college, and I am engaging your class from the college only. Yes. So let us hope the situation improves, and you also will be able to come to college, and we'll have so one-to-one interaction. Okay. Right. So up to I think I had covered up to bridges and LAN switches. I think we had covered up to that. So how actually a bridge works? So bridge is mainly used for the extended LAN, right? So whenever you want to extend a LAN, you can use a bridge, right? And switch how it is used and how the routing tables are maintained. Okay. So that is virtual circuit, okay, virtual circuit and datagrams, okay, how those services are provided. So these things we have seen. So yeah, so these things we have seen, right? So yeah, the next thing that virtual yeah. So next topic is internetworking, right? So internetworking. So here it is small I, right? Internetworking means it is interconnecting several networks into a one common network. As you see here, so this network, so see the mouse pointer. So this network is Ethernet LAN. Okay, this network is Ethernet LAN. So this particular network, it is also another Ethernet LAN. So this network, it is wireless LAN. Okay. So now what actually it is done here is, so several these networks. So these networks are connected to one another, right? So internetwork is what? Internetwork is nothing but it is an arbitrary collection of networks interconnected to provide some sort of host to host packet delivery, right? So the host may be belonging to this Ethernet. Okay. So if you want to communicate with this host who is connected to wireless LAN, to wireless network, so that should be possible, right? Okay, so that seamless transfer of data, so how it is made possible? So that's what we are going to deal in case of internetworking, right? So internetworking is basically nothing but it is connection of several different networks, right? Okay, simple network. So where H represents host and R represents a router. Okay. So what is a host? What is a router? We have seen. Okay. So what actually, can you just repeat it? What is a host and what is a router? So host is a machine on which uh, client application or server application is running, right? Some application is running, network application, and the router is a device which interconnects two or more networks, right? Is that clear? Okay. So the router is also, it can be considered as a switching element. Now, if you just see here, okay, IP protocol,
Excuse
internet
me, sir.
protocol. Hello?
Sir, please be louder, sir. Not hearing, sir.
Oh, that is why actually, yeah. So, yes. So now am I audible clearly? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Now it's okay, sir.
Okay,
Now it's clear, sir.
okay, fine. See, this what is IP? IP means Internet Protocol. Okay, IP means Internet Protocol. Now, this is if you see in case of TCP/IP model, right? So this IP layer is the one which holds this entire TCP/IP together. Okay, entire internet. So entire your internet, it is built upon this IP layer. Okay, Internet Protocol layer. So IP stands for Internet Protocol. Okay. So today entire this one, okay, entire internet it is built upon this IP layer. So this IP layer, it is able to connect several heterogeneous internet work. Okay, several heterogeneous in the sense, so the different types, right? Because different networks will be having different set of protocols, right? So there may be difference in the number of protocols, packet size, or anything, right? So there are different networks have got different properties. So such networks, they are called as heterogeneous networks. So several heterogeneous networks should be able to, you should be able to connect them together. So that is made possible by using this IP layer, right? So it runs on all the nodes, right? This IP layer, because so which is the layer below IP? Can you just tell me? Here you just see. So this is a TCP/IP model. So here you have IP layer. So what is the layer below this? What is the layer below IP layer? Hmm? What is the layer below IP layer? See, it is given. It runs. Okay, the IP layer runs on all nodes in collection of networks and defines infrastructure that allows these nodes and networks to function as a single logical internetwork, right? So which is the layer? See, what is this 802.11? Anybody? Yes, 802.11 is what?
IP address.
No, no, no. 802.11 is,
OSI layer, sir.
huh?
OSI layer.
No,
OSI
no,
layer.
no, 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 no.
IEEE protocols.
No, that is IEEE 802.11. This is the name given for wireless LAN. Okay. So wireless LAN, it is given this name 802.11, right? So see, this is wireless LAN. So a host is connected to this wireless LAN. Okay, IP layer sits above it, sits above it. So here again 802.11. So here there is Ethernet LAN. Here there is Ethernet LAN. So here again one more Ethernet LAN. So here it is point-to-point network. So that means, so different types of networks. So different types of networks are connected to one another. You just see here. See, try to understand this. See here there is an application running here. Okay, some application is running on this host. So it uses TCP service provided by the transport layer. In turn, the transport layer uses IP services provided by the IP layer, right? So this IP, it sends a packet to this 802.11, that is wireless network. Okay, it is a wireless medium. So through that, it comes to the, from host, it comes to the next router. Is it clear? So this H5 is, we are speaking, it is about host where application is running. So application has generated some message. So that message, so that application is using TCP service. TCP service in turn it is using IP service. So IP service, it sends a packet to this wireless LAN. So through wireless LAN, so the packet comes to the router. Okay, router is connecting two networks. Which are the two networks? One is this 802.11. So and on the other side you have Ethernet. Okay. So now this IP layer, what it does? It receives this wireless packet and converts it into a form that is suitable for Ethernet. So then Ethernet frame comes here. Okay. So it goes to the next router. So Ethernet frame comes at this end. So this IP layer, what it does? Because it is connected to two different networks. One is Ethernet LAN, another one is point-to-point protocol. Okay. Now what it does? It converts. It receives Ethernet frame and it converts it into a form which is suitable for this network. Okay. This PPP frame, it comes here. So then this IP layer, what it does? It converts it into again Ethernet frame. So like this, right? So like this, so the message that is sent by this host H5, it ultimately goes through several routers in between, several routers or several networks in between, and finally it comes to this host. So here Ethernet frame comes. So within the frame, a packet is removed from it because so packet is enclosed within the Ethernet frame, right? So once you open the Ethernet frame and remove the header, so you can take out the IP packet within it. So that IP packet contains a segment within that. So IP packet is removed, header is removed, and TCP segment is sent. So then original message reaches host 8. Okay. So that is how host 8 and host 5, so they are able to communicate among themselves. So though there are several networks in between. So that's all made possible due to the IP layer. Okay. So IP layer, it is mainly responsible for connecting several networks together. Is it clear? Any doubts? IP layer, it is mainly responsible for connect, because it is through IP only, so you are going to enter into the network, right? So whereas this transport layer and application layer, they are said to be end-to-end layers, right? So through IP layer only you are going to enter into the network. Okay. So is it clear? So it is network to network layer it is, whereas transport layer and application layer, they are end-to-end layers. Okay, whereas this data link layer, so it is link level layers. Okay, it is the link at the, it is a layer at the link level. Yes, any doubts? Any doubts are there?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, so coming to the packet delivery model. So now connectionless model. See, this one thing is IP layer. So here, if you see this IP layer, what type of service it provides? Now you just see TCP, what type of service it provides. So here you have application layer, below that you have transport layer, below that you have IP layer, and below that you have this interface layer that can be any network interface it is. So here we have wireless LAN. Okay, so this is IP. This is now this transport layer. It is actually capable of providing two types of services. One is TCP service, another one is UDP service, right? So especially this application, since it is using TCP, only TCP is shown here. Okay, actually transport layer is capable of providing. Transport layer is capable of providing TCP and UDP service. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because the current is gone here, so that is why I was a little doubtful. Okay, so transport layer, it uses the services of IP layer. So what service this IP layer provides? So IP layer provides connectionless unreliable service. Okay, so whereas this TCP layer, it provides connection oriented reliable service. Okay, so stream service it provides. Okay, so that this transport layer is able to provide connection oriented reliable service using the what datagram services, connectionless services provided by the IP layer. Okay, is it clear? So the services provided by the IP layer, so it is unreliable connectionless service. It is also called as best effort service. So best effort delivery, unreliable service. So what actually you mean by best effort service? See, it is called as best effort service in the sense this, now here IP layer, it is a connectionless. Okay. So what it does, it receives, please try to understand this, it receives the segments from the TCP layer, okay, transport layer. Okay. So these segments are converted into datagrams. Okay, datagrams, because it is connectionless. So they are converted into datagrams. So they are sent to this wireless LAN. So now, since it is connectionless, IP layer is connectionless, so these packets, so they are free. Okay, so they can go through this wireless LAN, and it is, so every datagram that is sent by the IP layer will contain the full destination address. Okay, it will contain full destination address and this router R1, R2, R3. So what they do? So they perform routing operation. Okay, so routing decision is taken for every datagram that comes into this router. Okay, suppose, so datagram 1 comes into this network. This IP layer, what it does, it executes a routing algorithm and looks into the destination address. Okay, for this destination address, which is the best outgoing path that is to be taken. So it puts that datagram onto that particular outgoing line. So though the datagrams are heading towards the same destination, but so the different datagrams can be routed to different routes. Okay. So though they are heading towards the same destination. Okay. So because all the datagrams sent by H5, so ultimately they should go to H8 only. Okay. So it is not that every datagram it follows the same path. No. Right. So for each and every datagram, this routing algorithm will take different routing decisions. Okay, looking into the current state of the network. Okay, current state of the network. Is that clear? So that is why we have discussed earlier also. So it is not that, so the order in which the datagrams are sent, in the same order they need not reach the destination, because different datagrams go through different paths in the network and ultimately they reach the destination here. Okay, is it clear? So that is why, and it is also possible because IP layer, it is said to be unreliable. It is said to be unreliable, and there are chances that the datagrams that are sent, so they may be lost in the network. Okay, so IP layer is not going to do any effort to recover those datagrams. Are you getting it? That is why it is said to be best effort service. Okay, so it makes, IP layer makes best of its efforts to send them to destination. But if they are lost, so it is not going to make any effort to recover those datagrams because it is unreliable. It provides unreliable service. Is it clear? See here, the packets are lost. Packets or datagrams, whatever you call. So packets are lost. So packets are delivered out of order. That is why I said, because though the packets are heading to the same destination, so different packets will take different routes. Okay. So that is why the packets will reach the destination out of order. Okay. And duplicate copies of the packet are delivered because, so there are chances, so some packets are delayed. Okay. So they appear at the destination so suddenly, and they may be duplicate packets there. Okay. So but IP layer is not going to do any effort to take care of these. Okay. So packets can be delayed for a long time. Okay, because if there is a looping somewhere in the network, okay, if the packet keeps on looping there, so then it can reach the destination after a long time. Okay, so these are the, what you can say, these are the disadvantages, you can say. Okay, these are the features of best IP layer. So packets may be lost because that is why it is said to be unreliable. So packets may be lost. So packets are delivered out of order. So there can be generation of duplicate packets. So packets can be delayed for a long time. Okay. So now one thing you remember, one thing you remember. So these are, so whatever you discussed, these are the features of IP layer. Okay. So this TCP should be able to provide reliable connection oriented service. So using the unreliable service that is provided by the IP layer. So that is why the burden on the TCP is very much, because because this IP layer is not going to do any effort. So whatever that is given, it just delivers it. It is not going to, if at all a packet is lost, it is lost forever. Okay. It is up to the transport layer to recover the lost data. Is it clear? Yes or no? Is it clear? Whatever we are discussing? See, because IP layer is very, very unreliable. IP layer is very, very unreliable. That is why the burden on the TCP is more. Burden on the TCP is more. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So now how the destinations, okay, how the destination hosts are identified by using what is called as global addressing scheme. Okay, global addressing means what? It is IP addressing. So it provides a way to identify all the hosts in the network, right? So ultimately every host in the network should have a unique IP address, right? A unique IP address. So every host in the entire world, right, it is identified by the IP address. So there are different types of versions of IP address. One is IPv4, which uses 32-bit IP address, whereas IPv6 it uses 128-bit IP address. Okay. So IP address is normally used to globally address any host in the network. Okay. So as we see, so version 4, okay, this is the IPv4 packet header. Okay, this is IPv4 packet header. So version 4 IPv4. So this is header length. Now see here, this is version number. Okay, so either it can be IPv4 or IPv6. So this HLN, so the 4 bits are reserved for this version field. Then host length, sorry, this header length, we have 4 bits reserved for it. So that means what could be the maximum size of the header? See, 4 bits are reserved for host length, sorry, header length. So what could be the maximum header size? Yes, using 4 bits, what is the maximum number of value that you can express? Yes, I am waiting for your answer.
64, sir.
Huh?
64.
2 raised to 4, 2 raised to, because 4 bits it is. So
Yes,
2
sir.
raised to 4 is how much?
4, 8, 16.
Yes, that's all. Okay, so the header can be at the maximum, header can be of 16 bytes. Header can be of size 16 bytes. 2 raised to 4. Okay, then this is type of service. Okay, so TOS, it is type of service, because so it depends on the type of service to provide a quality of service parameter. Then this is length. Okay, so the number of bytes, total number of bytes, it is including header and data. So what is the length? So you see here 16 bits are reserved for this. Okay, this length field, it is having 16 bits starting from 16 to 32, 31. Okay, so totally 16 bits are reserved for it. So what could be the maximum size of this datagram? So it is 2 raised to 16, 2 raised to 16. Okay, so then this is identification. So this is identify used to now. So see, one thing you just see, every network, okay, every network is having something called as some MTU, maximum transmission unit, okay, maximum transfer unit, you can say. Okay, that means, so it speaks about the packet size. Okay, so suppose, assume that you have got a network, so which supports 1000 byte packet, 1000 byte packet, right? So if that network, if that packet has to go into another network which supports 200 byte packet, So then what you will do? So 1000 byte packet, how you are going to send into a network which supports only 200 bytes? Are you understanding my? Are you getting my question? See, you have a 1000 byte packet, right? So you have a network which supports 1000 byte packet. Okay. So the output of this network is connected to another network, so which has 200 byte packet. So how can you send a 1000 byte packet into a network which supports 200 byte packet? Hmm? See, 1000 byte packet, it has to be broken down. It has to be broken down into pieces. Okay, so that those smaller packets can go through the network which supports 200 byte packet. Yes or no? Okay, so that is what is called as fragmentation. That is what is called as fragmentation, right? So that is used. So this identification field, the 16-bit identification field, it is used to identify the fragments. It is used to identify the fragments. Are you getting it? So this fragmentation, it is a must, because whenever a bigger packet is to be sent through a network which supports a smaller packet, so the fragmentation has to be done. Okay, fragmentation has to be done. So how many fragments? But you should be able to identify that all these fragments, they belong to the same segment. Okay, they belong to the same segment. So that is why, so this identification field is used. I hope I am clear. Yes or no? Yes, is it
Yes,
clear?
sir.
Now
Yes, sir.
assume that you have got a bigger packet. So that packet you have broken down into 4 fragments. But ultimately, when you are at the receiving end, you should be able to group them together. Fragments belonging to the same packet, you should be able to group them together. Okay, so for that, so identifications of the fragments belonging to the same packet, it is a must. So that is why this identification field is used. Then flags. So this flag, so again, this is also used in case of fragmentation. So we will see that later. Okay, there are 3 different types of flags. So we will see them. Then this offset again. So this entire 32-bit word, it is used for fragmentation only. So identification, flags, offset. Okay. So this offset, so it is also used for during fragmentation only. This TTL, it is time to live. Okay, TTL, it is time to live. So that means, so why it is required? Why it is required? If it is not fixed, otherwise what happens? The packet will live in the network forever. Okay. So now, so to ensure that ultimately either the packets are delivered to the network, or so they are declared dead, because so the network should not keep the packets in the network for longer time. Okay. So when the packets, when the suppose I send a packet now, after some time it should reach the destination. So if the packet keeps on just rotating inside the network, then it is of no use. Ultimately, unnecessarily it keeps adding to the traffic in the network. Okay. So that is why, so after some amount of time, every packet should be declared as dead if it doesn't reach the destination. Okay, TTL is time to live. This is the lifetime for a packet. Okay. So within its lifetime, it should reach the destination. Otherwise, the packet is declared to be dead packet. Then this is a protocol. Okay, this means, so this protocol field, it is used for multiplexing and demultiplexing. Now especially, so to which higher layer protocol it should report. Okay, that means, so this IP layer is working below the transport layer. So transport layer is providing 2 services, TCP service and UDP service, right? So to which protocol this IP has to report, whether it should report to TCP or should it report to UDP. Okay, so that is what is protocol field. If it is having number 6, that means it is reporting to TCP. If it is having 17 value, so then it is reporting to UDP. Okay, so these two, either 6 or 17, either 6 or 17. Okay, so then checksum. So this is regarding the error correction in the header. Okay, this checksum is calculated. Okay, now if at all any error is there in the header. Okay, so this checksum, please remember. So this checksum, it is mainly meant for error checking. of the header part only. It doesn't worry about the data. It only checks whether there is any error in the header. Okay, and this is source IP address. This is destination IP address, 32-bit. Source IP address, destination IP address, and these are the options. Okay, these are the options, variabilities. Okay, so if you want, you can use the, okay, for providing some additional service, so there is an option field available. Okay, so it is a variable depending on, and ultimately, so to make it into 32 bits, so you are going to add, suppose this option field you have used only 20 bits in it. So then, so to make it 32 bits, you are padding 12 bits. You are padding 12 bits. Okay, if your option field it is 15 bits. So then how many padding bits you have to add? So 70. Totally you have to make it 32 bits, right? So that is why this padding is used. So this part is data. Okay, this part is data. So there is also a restriction because the total, this header plus this data should not go beyond 2 raised to 16. Yes, any doubts in any of the fields? Is it not clear? Any of these fields in this packet format, anything is not clear? Version, header length, so type of service, length, total length of the packet, identifier, flags, offsets. So these are used in fragmentation. Time to leave. This is protocol, whether it is TCP or UDP, checksum. It is for error checking in case of header. So then source IP address, destination IP address, options to provide some additional service, and to make it 32 bits, so these padding bits are used. So any doubts? Yes, any doubts are there?
No, sir.
Okay. See, this is what I was talking about. So this is very important, IP fragmentation and reassembly. See, each network has got MTU, maximum transmission unit. Okay, each network, take it any network, right? So it will be having, every network will be having maximum transmission unit. So if, for example, Ethernet LAN, so it is having 1500 bytes. So this is its MTU, maximum transmission unit. So beyond that it cannot carry, right? So the maximum packet size, so it can be 1500 bytes. Whereas FDDI, okay, so this is fiber, okay. So for fiber it is 4500 bytes. Okay. Now why it is important? See, if now assume that the packet from FDDI, it is going into an Ethernet LAN. You just see here. So here the MTU is 4500. So this packet, it is getting into an Ethernet LAN. So its MTU is 1500. Its MTU is 4500. So how can you make a 4500 byte packet to get into an Ethernet which supports only 1500? Okay, so you are going to fragment it. Okay, so that is a strategy. So fragmentation occurs in a router. Okay, so at the routers the fragmentation occurs because routers are at the border. If you just see here, these are the routers. Okay, so here what is done is, see, please remember this router, it is going to connect two networks. See here you have one wireless LAN, so here you have Ethernet LAN. So two different networks are connected to one router. Okay, so now suppose its MTU is 1000, its MTU is 200. So then, so fragmentation should occur in the router only, is it not? So at the router, the fragmentation occurs. So fragmentation occurs in a router. So when it receives a datagram, so that it wants to forward over a network which has MTU less than the datagram. Okay. So if the network that follows, its MTU, if it is less than the datagram size, incoming datagram size, so then it has to be fragmented. Is it clear? So here assume that in this example, Now a packet has come to a router. So that router is interconnecting FDDI and Ethernet. Okay, so the datagram is 4500 bytes. Whereas, so the MTU of the next network Ethernet is 1500. So MTU 1500 is definitely less than 4500. Yes or no? So that is why fragmentation is needed at a router which interconnects this Ethernet and FDDI. Okay, because so MTU is less than datagram. MTU means 1500. MTU, that is the MTU of Ethernet. So whereas the datagram has come from FTDI. So it is 4500 bytes. Okay. So for MTU is less than datagram. So now fragmentation has to be done. So reassembly is done at the receiving host, only at the end. Okay. Only at the end we are doing reassembly, combining all these fragments again into one complete packet. Okay. So all the fragments so carry the same identifier in the identity field. So this field we have seen just now. So here, so this identifier field, okay. So now suppose in this example what we are doing, so this 4500 byte, okay, packet, we are dividing it into 3 fragments, assume, okay. So now what happens? So just to indicate that all these fragments, they belong to the same packet. So that is why in this identifier field, so all these fragments will contain the same identification number. Okay, they will be containing the same identification number. All the fragments carry the same identifier in the identifier field because it indicates that so all these fragments, so they are part of the same packet. They are part of the same packet. Okay. So fragments are self-contained datagrams. So okay. So though these fragments, so the incoming packet is broken down into fragments. So every fragment is independent datagram. Okay. Every every fragment is independent because these fragments are routed independently, just like any other datagrams. Are you getting me? Okay. So see here 4500 bytes packet, it is broken down, okay, into 3 or 4 fragments. So each of these fragments it is a self-contained datagram. It is independent datagram. Okay. So though it is a fragment of a bigger packet, but every fragment is independent of each other. Okay. So IP does not recover from missing fragments because IP anyway provides unreliable service. Okay. If suppose you have broken down incoming packet into 4 fragments. Okay. Out of these 4 fragments, only 3 fragments reach the receiver. So one fragment is lost. But IP layer is not going to recover these missing fragments. It is up to the host. It is up to the transport layer to recover the missing things. Okay. See, this is what one example for fragmentation. You just see IP fragmentation and reassembly. So here it will be clear. So H5, okay. So this H5, it is connected to which network? H5 is connected to which network? By looking at the diagram, you can tell. Yes. This router R1 connects which two networks? Router R1 connects which two networks? By looking at the diagram, can you tell me? I'm waiting for your reply. This router R1 connects.
Connected to one to host, sir. Host.
I'm talking about the network. This router R1, it connects two different networks. Which are those two different networks? It is given here. It is given. See this.
H5 and R2.
No. H5 is a host. H5 is a host belonging to which network I am asking? H5 is a host belong. See that network, it is mentioned here 802.11.
Wireless.
Yes. So this H5, it is connected to this wireless LAN. It is connected to wireless LAN, right? So it's MTU. So the packet size is 1400. Is it not? So its size is 1400. So it enters into this network. Now here you have Ethernet LAN. Okay, so here it is Ethernet LAN. So what is its size? 1400. Now is it fragmentation? Is it required? Because here also it is 1400, here also it is 1400. So fragmentation is not required because so this MTU, it is same as this MTU, is it not? So it can go into this network, no problem. Now this 1400 byte packet, it enters this router. Now this router, this network, so here you have PPP network, okay? So PPP network, its size is MTU, you can say its MTU is 512. Now the segment, incoming segment is of size 1400. The following network's MTU is 512. So what you have to do, see here, MTU is less than datagram, yes or no? MTU is 512, whereas incoming datagram, it is of size 1400, in this case 1400. Okay, so how can you make this 1400 byte packet to get into this network which supports only 512? Okay, so what we will do is, so it is 1400 byte packet, it is broken down into three fragments of 512. Three fragments you just see here. So 512, 512, 512. Is it not? Correct, no? So three fragments of size 512. So each of these fragments, they enter into this network. So the following Ethernet LAN, so it also supports 512. So these three fragments, they come here. So before they are handed over to this host, so they are again what? Reassembled. So fragmentation has taken place here, okay, because incoming datagram, its size is more than the MTU of the following network, So that is why, so it has to be fragmented. So fragmentation has taken place here. So here, before delivering it to this host H8, so these fragments have to be reassembled, and it should be this original packet has to be reconstructed. So that is what it is, reassembly. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
See here, the same example he has taken. So this is the original packet, 1400 byte packet. It is broken down into the fragments of size 512 fragments. See, now this is the original packet A. So it is unfragmented packet. So this is IPv4 packet. So start of the header. So now identification is X. So this is the flags. Offset is 0. Offset is 0 because it is the first. It is unfragmented packet, original packet. Okay. So the rest of the header. So it is 1400 data byte. So 1400 data bytes are there. So okay. So plus 20 byte header, you just have to add to that. Okay, 1400 bytes of data plus header is 20 byte. Okay, so total size is 1420 bytes. Total size of the datagram. Total size of the datagram is 1420. What is that 20? So 20 is nothing but it is the header. It is the header. So now this, it is broken down into, okay, so 512 plus this one will be having 20 byte header. So 512 plus 20 byte header. So it is 532. Okay, so let us see this. Now, as you see here, so it is broken down into three fragments with the data having 512 bytes. So 512 bytes plus 20 byte header, so it is 532. Now you just see here, so 512 bytes of data, 512 bytes of data, 512. So the remaining, so if you just see, okay, so why it is 376? Why it is 376? Because so 512 plus 512, so it is 1024. Okay, so 1400 minus 1024. If you subtract, So you will get 376, the remaining number of data bytes, Okay, that means, so 1400 bytes of data, so you need to accommodate in segments which supports 512 byte data. Okay, so one 512 bytes, so second 512 bytes, so remaining 376 data bytes, so they are put in a third fragment, okay, and all of them, they have identification equal to X, because that's what we said. Okay, here we are seeing, okay, this identification, so fragments here, where it is at, so all the fragments carry the same identifier in the identification field. Okay, see here, so the identification is equal to X, because they belong to the same packet. Okay, so here it is this field, it is, please remember, this is a more field. So more fragments. Are there more fragments? Yes, 2 more fragments are there. So here second fragment also indicates it is 1. That means it indicates there are more fragments. So here it is 0. Here it is 0. That means this is the last fragment. Okay. So here offset is 0. Okay, offset is 0. So now this offset, so if you divide it by 8, you just 512 divided by 8, what is that?
64.
64. That is why this offset is 64, right? Okay, so this offset, so it is double this 128. Okay, so this 512 plus 512, 1024 divided by 8, so again it is 128. So the offset is 128 here. Okay, so this offset, it is 0, because this is the first fragment. This is the second fragment. Okay, because 512 data bytes are here. Okay, is it clear? So if you divide by 8, it is offset will be 64. So here 1024 bytes of data it is already put in. So divided by 8, it is 128. So the offset is 128 here. So the rest of it, right? Okay, so the session is going to close now, right? So we will continue this in the next class, right? Any doubts are there? Any doubts? We will solve 1 or 2 example based on this fragmentation. But you should be, no, so this, you should understand it first, right? Is it clear? Right? So for offset, you are considering only the data bytes, not the header. Yes, any doubts? Any doubts are there?
Sir, in previous
No,
slide,
sir.
sir.
Hmm.
Yes, sir, have.
What is that?
Excuse me. Sir, in previous slide, they have done three times, that is fragmentation, sir.
Yes, yes, here. Correct. Here
Then
also
that
3.
that sum of will be greater than this 1400, no, sir?
Here he has given 512, but actually here it should be 376 only.
Okay,
It should
sir.
be 376.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it is 1400 minus sum of these two. 512 plus 512. So whatever is the remaining number of bytes, so that is it.
Yes.
Hmm?
Got it. Yes.
Yes, any other doubt? So we will continue with this in the next class, right? So please go through this, and if you have any doubts, if you come across any doubts, we will discuss it in the next class, right? Okay. So thank you. So I am closing the session now. Only 5 people are there.
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
Kirti, Sanjeevini, Asma, Sadhika.
You send it, okay?
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Right.